So in this video we're going to talk about the law of sines, and we're going to explain where the formula comes from. So a couple of videos ago we talked about this formula for the area of a triangle. If you have sides little a, little b, and little c, and corresponding angles capital A, capital B, capital C, then the area of the triangle is 1/2 AB sine C, or we could say 1/2 AC sine B, or 1/2 BC sine A. Okay, so we talked about this formula, or these formulas, I guess, a couple videos before this one, and the law of sines actually follows pretty directly from this formula here. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check out that video for a proof of this formula, and then this is what we're going to use to establish the law of sines. So it really is pretty straightforward. What we have to realize though is that this really says this is really three equalities here. So these two guys equal each other, these two guys equal each other, and these two guys equal each other. Okay, so let's go ahead and write down these equalities separately, and then it'll be more clear what to do. So the first equality, 1/2 AB sine C equals 1/2 AC sine B. Okay, that's one equality. Another one is, let's maybe use a different color. 1/2 AB sine C equals, so first one is 1/2 AB sine C, or this guy equals this guy. The second one we'll write down as this guy equals this guy. So 1/2 AB sine C equals 1/2 BC sine A. And then going back to the other color, we have now this guy equals this guy. So that's 1/2 AC sine B, that's a 2, equals 1/2 BC sine A. Okay, so three different equalities here. So let's just focus on one at a time. So just looking at this equality here, what we have, if we multiply both sides by 2, okay, multiply both sides by 2, that's going to cancel the 1/2. Divide both sides by A, let's zoom in on this. Divide both sides by A, that's going to cancel the A. And then what we're left with is B sine C equals C sine B. Okay. Little b sine of big C equals little c sine of big B. Okay, so then from here, there's two different things we could do. One is, let's just do one type of thing at a time. So if we divide both sides by B and C, okay, divide both sides by B, C, basically. Divide both sides by B, C, then B's over here cancel, C's over here cancel, and then what we have is sine of C over little c equals sine of big B over little b. Okay, so this is one part of the law of sines, and again, it just follows directly from this area formula that we proved a couple of videos before this one. Okay, now let's look at this one here. What if we multiply both sides by 2, that gets rid of the half, and then divide both sides by B, that's going to get rid of the B on both sides, and then what we have left is A sine of big C equals little c sine of capital A. Now we can divide both sides by AC. Okay, so C's cancel over here, and then A's cancel over here, and then what we have is sine of capital C divided by little c equals sine of capital A over little a. And that's another part of the law of sines. And actually, just from this, we can pretty much establish the complete law of sines. So here, sine of C over little c equals sine of B over little b, and sine of C over little c equals sine of A over little a. So here, sine of C over C equals this, and sine of C over C equals that. So this and that have to equal each other. So actually, these two things together really do establish the complete law of sines, which just says sine of A over A equals sine of B over little b equals sine of C over little c. Okay, and just like this up here is really three equalities, this over here is also really three equalities. Okay, and we've directly established this one. Sine of C over C equals sine of B over B, that's this one here. Sine of C over C equals sine of A over A, that's this one here. So we, and this one actually just follows from the transitive property. Okay, But if we want to show it directly, we can just get it directly, just like these two. We can get it directly from this one. Multiply both sides by 2, then divide both sides by c. So if we do that, so we'll go through that because there's something else I want to point out. Multiply both sides by 2, divide both sides by c. Then what we have is a sine b equals b sine a. Then divide both sides by ab. A is cancel, b is cancel over here, and we have sine of b over little b equals sine of a over little a. Okay? And that directly establishes this third equality here. So again, we didn't have to go through this because we can just get this third one here from the transitive property, because sine of c over c equals this and that, so these two things have to equal each other. But the reason we went through this is because there's something else I want to point out. This is one way of writing the law of sines. Another way is just if you take the reciprocals of everything. So we could also say a over sine capital A equals little b over sine of big B equals little c over sine of big C. Okay, so this two different ways of stating the law of sine. So one way here and one way here. And again, just like this one, this says 3 equalities. These two guys equal each other, these two guys equal each other, and these two guys equal each other. So, and which one you use depends on the problem you're doing. One, this might be a better form than the other. It depends on what you're solving for. If you're solving for an angle, it's probably easier to use this because the angles are in the numerator. If you're solving for a side, it's probably easier to use this because the sides are in the numerator. Okay? But anyway, just take the reciprocals. Now, how can we establish these directly? Well, remember in these steps up here, once we got to here, like b sine c equals c sine b, we divided both sides by bc. But instead of that, okay, so in this step we had a b sine c equals c sine b. So instead of dividing both sides by little b, little c, let's divide both sides by sine of b times sine of c. Okay. Then what happens over here, sine of c cancels, over here sine of b cancels, and then what we're left with, instead of sine c over c equals sine b over b, what we get is b over sine b equals c over sine c. Okay, that's what we get there. Now another thing, another way to think about it is, okay, well if, so that's one way to think about it. We could do the exact same thing over here and over here. Instead of dividing by ac, divide by sine of a sine of c. Instead of dividing by AB, divide by sine of A sine of B, and the exact same thing will happen. Or what we could do is look at this type of equality here and then just cross multiply and divide. So once we have this established, we can multiply both sides by AC, and then the C's will cancel here, the A's will cancel here, and then we can divide both sides by sine of A sine of C. And divide both sides by sine A sine C. Okay, so then the sine of C's cancel over here, the sine of A's cancel over here, and then what we're left with is just A over sine A, and over here we just have C over sine C. So we're kind of running out of room, so there's nothing really left to write. But anyway, it's, you know, once you have this, you can establish these reciprocal ones just by cross multiplying and dividing. Okay. Anyway, that's the law of sines, and again, it really just follows directly from this area formula that we proved a couple videos before this one. So if you haven't seen that, if you want to check that out, because there are some subtleties behind the scenes, but since that proof from a couple videos ago takes care of those subtleties, we don't have to worry about them again here, and we can just directly use this, these formulas here. So that's an explanation of the law of sines, and we'll talk about how to use it in, and see some examples in the upcoming videos.